We've seen a huge amount of activity from the French SCPIs, and SCPI is a investment vehicle for a pooled investment for retail investors. And those SCPIs really like Western Europe. They're fairly sector agnostic. They are active in the £5 to £25 million space, and they're looking at net initial yields of 7% and above. And Scotland is exceptionally well placed to take advantage of those opportunities for the SCPI investors. And we've seen the likes of Innovalis, Remake and Norma Capital coming into the market, into the Scottish market, and picking up assets that are exactly within their sweet spot. So that's been very positive. Another really positive opportunity in Scotland is around residential rent control. So there has been some very positive movement in terms of the Housing Scotland Act. We now have, within a rent control zone, rents will be capped at CPI plus 1. That's a bit of a generality, but that has to be within a rent controlled zone, which has certain parameters. But crucially and most importantly, purpose-built BTR and mid-market housing have been exempted from rent control, as has PBSA. So that's a very positive move for the industry. There's been very great lobbying done by the industry and by the likes of SPF and More Homes More Quickly, and there's been real engagement with the politicians around the impact of the housing bill as proposed in terms of those rent caps on the BTR industry and the lobbying for them to be exempted, and that's a hugely positive move that they are now exempted, and that will hopefully ignite more activity in the residential development sectors and place Scotland in a good place to take advantage of that. I think one of the misconceptions is possibly that it's a less benign environment in a regulatory context. In actual fact, as I've just mentioned, we have rent control now largely resolved, which is great news. There's no prospect of upwards-only ban in rent reviews and commercial leasing, unlike England, which is very positive. So what we would say in Scotland is, from a regulatory perspective, it's actually a more benign environment for developers and investors, which is very good news. One of the sectors which has been particularly active and resilient has been the hotel sector, particularly in Edinburgh. Visitor numbers have risen in Edinburgh 25% in the last decade. RevPAR is one of the highest of the European cities, and that's fueled a significant amount of investment and development demand in Edinburgh, particularly for hotels. We're also seeing a lot of activity in the retail investment space, and that's investors spotting an opportunity to pick up assets, possibly with a redevelopment or a repurposing play, but also buying cash on cash in terms of the income stream from the occupational tenants. So we've seen the likes of Ocean Terminal, Greyhead, St Enoch Centre, all being traded, each with a different strategic purpose from those investors. It's a very positive news story for retail investment in Scotland. We're also seeing quite a lot of activity in the office refurbishment space. There's a lack of Grade A supply coming forward in terms of office supply, and we're seeing clients buying up existing buildings to refurbish and renew and bring much needed space to the market. So we're seeing the likes of Lucent and Aurora, very good stories in Glasgow. We're also seeing the likes of clients such as Longstock, who are buying up secondary assets and repurposing and refurbishing those to bring quality office space to the market. It's a very positive story for the cities in Scotland. I think they really need an advisor who's completely embedded in the market, who knows the operators, who knows the different opportunities for clients and can put people together. And one of the things that I think is absolutely essential is that you're able to spot opportunities and you know who's looking for those sorts of opportunities, so as to put the two people together, two firms together to make the most of that opportunity. So it's somebody who's completely embedded across the entirety of the sector and across all asset classes to be able to bring their experience to bear and really drive value for the benefit of their clients and investors.